When a man sees beyond a woman's beauty, he touches a place in her heart that very few ever reach. Beauty can attract attention, but it is the depth of recognition that secures memory. Most men see what is on the surface, the face, the figure, the appearance that fades with time. Yet the man who chooses to look deeper, who chooses to honor her spirit, her values, her essence, is the man she carries in her thoughts long after others have been forgotten. A woman wants to be admired, yes, but more than admiration, she longs to be understood. The man who sees her not just as she is today, but as she is capable of becoming tomorrow, creates a bond that outlasts the superficial. He notices not only how she looks when she dresses up for the world, but also how her eyes shine when she speaks about her dreams, how her energy shifts when she talks about what matters to her most, how her quiet moments reveal strength that others overlook. Such a man is rare because it requires a level of awareness that many never develop. Most are distracted by what glitters, by the external, by what can be praised publicly. But the unforgettable man sees what cannot be photographed or praised openly. He sees her determination, her kindness, her fears, her struggles, her ability to rise after being broken. That recognition builds a connection where she feels seen in a way that others never made her feel. And when someone truly sees you, you cannot forget them. It becomes etched into memory because the experience is uncommon. Think about it, beauty changes with time, but essence does not. The glow of youth will fade, but character, passion, and soul remain. A man who invests in understanding this deeper side makes her feel valued for who she truly is, not for how long she can maintain an appearance. That is why the memory of such a man lingers. He has touched the timeless, not the temporary. Women remember him not because he said something sweet once or gave a flattering compliment, but because he consistently recognized qualities that mattered to her core. He might acknowledge her ambition when no one else takes it seriously. He might appreciate her resilience when the world overlooks it. He might celebrate her uniqueness instead of trying to change her into something more conventional. These actions communicate that he sees beyond beauty, and they resonate deeply. When a man looks deeper, he gives her the courage to also look deeper within herself. She begins to trust her own potential more because someone reflected it back to her. That reflection becomes a mirror of strength. Imagine how powerful it is when she feels that her soul, her dreams, her struggles are not invisible. That memory cannot fade easily because the emotional impact of being truly recognized is life-altering. She may forget who complimented her looks at a party. She may forget the faces of men who admired her from a distance, but she will not forget the one who looked into her essence and said, I see you, not the surface you, not the mask, but the authentic you. This kind of vision requires patience and attention. It means listening carefully when she speaks, asking questions about her passions, encouraging her when she feels uncertain. It is in the details, the way he remembers her stories, the way he notices her growth, the way he appreciates her small victories as much as her big ones. These subtle moments accumulate to an unforgettable presence. They tell her she matters for more than her appearance, that her mind, her heart, and her soul are worthy of attention. And this is where the difference lies. Many men can admire beauty, few can honor essence. Many can chase attraction, few can cultivate understanding. But when a man chooses the deeper path, he positions himself not just as a temporary figure in her life, but as a permanent imprint in her memory. The reason is simple. People forget those who blend in with the crowd, but they always remember the ones who made them feel seen in ways that transcended the ordinary. A woman will always carry the memory of the man who recognized her worth before the world celebrated it. The one who saw her light when she was still doubting it herself. The one who noticed the subtle details of her character while others were distracted by appearance. That is why seeing beyond beauty is not just about perception. It is about presence. It is about being the type of man who values truth over illusion, depth over surface, permanence over passing attraction. This type of man creates a bond that time, distance, or circumstance cannot erase, because memory clings to moments of authenticity, and authenticity is exactly what seeing beyond beauty is all about. When a man makes a woman feel safe, he steps into a space that very few can occupy in her life. Safety is not just about physical protection, though that matters. It is about the emotional and mental atmosphere he creates around her. A woman can be surrounded by people, yet still feel vulnerable, still feel that she has to guard her heart, her thoughts, her dreams. But when she meets a man who gives her peace instead of anxiety, calm instead of chaos, she remembers him in a way that does not fade. Safety is the rarest form of love because it requires consistency, stability, and truth. It is not about words alone. It is about how his actions match those words over time. A man who makes her feel safe does not need to constantly prove his strength with dominance. His strength is in his reliability. She knows he means what he says. She knows he will not betray her trust when temptation comes. She knows that his loyalty is not dependent on convenience. That is where safety is born, when her spirit can rest because she no longer feels the need to question every move. The world is already uncertain, full of pressures, doubts, and betrayals. But in the presence of such a man, she feels relief, as though she has stepped into a place where she can finally breathe without fear. This sense of safety is built in small ways. It is in the way he listens without judgment, the way he honors her vulnerability instead of using it against her, the way he provides a steady hand when she feels shaken. She may not remember every gift he gave her, but she will never forget the way he made her feel secure during her most fragile moments. That kind of memory lasts forever because it is tied to the deepest human need, the need to feel protected and valued. Safety also comes from emotional maturity. A man who cannot control his temper, his impulses, or his words cannot make a woman feel safe, no matter how strong he appears on the outside. But the man who exercises patience, who chooses understanding over unnecessary conflict, creates a safe space where she does not have to fear emotional storms. He becomes the calm in her life rather than another source of chaos. That calm is unforgettable. It is like shelter in a storm. Once someone has given you shelter, you never forget their face, their present spirit. A woman may be impressed by charm or outward displays of affection, but those things are fleeting. What stays with her is the consistency of safety. She remembers the man who stood by her when she doubted herself, who did not walk away when things grew difficult, who reminded her of her worth when the world tried to strip it away. That man becomes etched into her memory because he gave her something most never offer, peace of mind. And peace of mind is priceless. It is not about money, status, or material possessions. A man could give her everything in the world and still fail to make her feel safe if his words and actions carry uncertainty. True safety is about energy, intention, and trust. It is about knowing that his presence does not bring harm but healing. That is why she will never forget the one who gave her this kind of security. He becomes a reference point, someone she compares others to, because once you have experienced genuine safety, anything less feels empty. When a man makes her feel safe, he also gives her the freedom to open up more fully. She does not hold back her thoughts, her emotions, or her fears, because she knows they will not be used against her. This creates a depth of connection that others cannot replicate. It allows love to grow without resistance because fear has been removed from the equation. And that removal of fear is what makes him unforgettable. He becomes the man who allowed her to be her truest self without hesitation. Every woman longs for a place where she can let go of her guard, where she does not have to perform or pretend, where she can simply exist and be accepted. When a man offers that even in subtle ways, he is remembered not just as someone she once knew, but as someone who left an imprint on her soul. The memory of safety is stronger than the memory of passion because passion can fade, but safety creates an anchor. It gives stability to everything else, and without it, no relationship can survive. So when a man makes her feel safe, he gives her something beyond the ordinary. He gives her something eternal, something her heart will hold on to even if paths separate, even if circumstances change. She will never forget the man who gave her a refuge in a world that often feels uncertain, because safety is not just a feeling. It is a gift that stays alive in memory forever. When a man listens deeply, he separates himself from the crowd of voices that only wait for their turn to speak. True listening is not passive. It is not about nodding and pretending to care. It is an active choice to tune into another person's inner world without distraction. A woman never forgets the man who hears not only her words, but also her pauses, her emotions, her unspoken fears. Many people hear sound, but very few hear meaning. When a man makes the effort to understand the message behind the words, he becomes unforgettable because he gives her one of the rarest gifts in today's world, genuine attention. Most of the time, people are too preoccupied with their own thoughts. They listen just enough to respond or argue or to give advice that was never asked for. But when a man listens without rushing, without trying to fix everything instantly, he communicates respect. He shows that her voice has value. That is powerful because many women have experienced being ignored, dismissed, or spoken over. To meet someone who does the opposite, who slows down and makes her feel like her perspective matters, creates a memory that lingers long after the conversation is over. Listening deeply is more than just silence. It is presence. It is leaning in when she talks about her struggles. It is remembering details she mentioned weeks ago. It is noticing the slight changes in her tone that reveal what she is really feeling. A woman never forgets the man who makes her feel heard in this way, because being heard is closely tied to being understood, and being understood is closely tied to feeling loved. Gifts can fade, compliments can lose their effect, but the memory of someone who truly listened becomes woven into the fabric of her heart. It is in those quiet moments that the connection strengthens. She may be sharing a dream she has carried since childhood, or a fear she never admitted out loud before, or even something small about her daily life. When the man listens with genuine interest, he validates her existence. He tells her without words that her life is worth paying attention to, that her inner world is worth exploring. That feeling is unforgettable because it is so rare. Most of the world rushes. Most conversations are shallow, and most people are too distracted to truly pay attention. There is a difference between hearing and listening. Hearing catches the sound, but listening catches the soul. A woman remembers the man who catches her soul. He notices the weight behind her louder, the hesitation before she answers, the meaning behind the way she avoids certain topics. Deep listening sees beyond what is said and understands what is left unsaid. That ability makes her feel safe, valued, and cherished in a way that surface-level attention never could. Listening also builds trust. When a man listens deeply, she learns that she can share more with him without fear of judgment. She learns that her emotions will not be dismissed as dramatic, her dreams will not be belittled as impossible. Her concerns will not be waved away as irrelevant. He becomes the place where she can bring her truth. That trust becomes a bond that she cannot forget because it is rare to find someone who allows such openness. A woman may forget the words spoken by many, but she will not forget how it felt to be truly listened to. She will remember the way he looked at her when she was speaking, the way he stayed quiet just long enough to make her feel like her words mattered, the way he remembered details that everyone else overlooked. Those moments stay with her because they carry emotional weight. They tell her that she was not invisible, that she was not just another voice lost in the noise. This depth of listening requires patience and emotional intelligence. It requires setting aside ego. I was resisting the urge to interrupt and choosing to give space for another person's voice. Many men underestimate how powerful this is. They assume grand gestures win memory, when in truth, it is often the subtle act of listening that creates the deepest impression. A woman feels valued when she knows she does not have to compete for his attention, when she knows she is not talking to a distracted mind, when she knows he is fully present with her in the moment. And what makes this unforgettable is not just that she feels heard, it is that she feels understood. When someone listens deeply, they respond differently. They respond with empathy, with wisdom, with care that reflects true comprehension. That kind of response is a mirror, showing her that she is not alone in her feelings. It reassures her that her emotions have a place, that her story matters, that her thoughts are not wasted on deaf ears. This creates a connection that cannot be easily broken. A man who listens deeply does not just create conversation, he creates memory. Every word he hears with intention becomes a thread in the fabric of trust. Every silence he respects becomes a foundation of safety. Every detail he remembers becomes proof that he values her beyond the surface. That is why a woman never forgets the man who listens with more than his ears. He listens with his heart, and the heart always leaves an imprint. When a man inspires a woman's growth, he steps into a role that leaves a permanent mark on her life. Growth is a journey every human being desires, but it is not always easy to pursue alone. Doubts, fears, and limitations often weigh heavily on the mind, and many people settle into comfort zones that stop them from reaching their true potential. But when a man comes along who does not just admire her where she is, but believes in where she can go, he becomes unforgettable. He becomes a mirror of possibility, someone who reflects back to her a version of herself that is stronger, braver, and more capable than she realized. Inspiring growth is not about pushing or controlling. It is about encouragement, guidance, and unwavering belief. A man who does this does not try to shape her into his vision. Instead, he supports her in discovering her own vision more clearly. He asks the questions that make her think bigger. He challenges the excuses she hides behind. And he celebrates the steps she takes even when they are small. That kind of presence plants seeds that continue to grow long after the moment has passed. She remembers him because he helped her discover a strength she may not have trusted before. Every woman wants to feel that the person beside her does not just admire her current self, but also invest in her future self. A man who inspires her growth communicates through his actions that he values her potential. He might remind her that her voice deserves to be heard in spaces where she has been silent. He might encourage her to pursue dreams she once shelved, or he might simply stand by her with faith when she takes risks. That support becomes unforgettable because it is rare to find someone who sees beyond what is and envisions what could be. Growth is often uncomfortable, and this is where such a man makes the deepest impression. Instead of letting her retreat when challenges arise, he motivates her to face them with courage. Instead of allowing her to drown in self-doubt, he speaks life into her belief. Instead of feeding her limitations, he feeds her confidence. She may resist at times. She may even argue, but in the quiet of her mind, she remembers that he saw her not as small, but as powerful. That vision becomes something she carries with her for years because it gave her the strength to stretch further than she thought she could. A woman never forgets the man who does not let her settle for mediocrity. When everyone else is comfortable with her staying the same, he is the one reminding her of her gifts, her brilliance, her ability to reach higher. This kind of inspiration builds a bond that is different from attraction or charm. Attraction fades, charm can be temporary, but the memory of someone who fueled your growth lives on because it changes the trajectory of your life. She remembers him not just as a person she knew, but as a catalyst for transformation. The beauty of inspiring growth is that it is not always about grand speeches or dramatic gestures. Often, it is in the small, consistent ways he pushes her forward. He notices when she minimizes her achievements and reminds her to be proud. He challenges her to think differently when she is stuck in old patterns. He celebrates her progress, no matter how small, with genuine pride. These moments add up and form a foundation of encouragement that strengthens her from the inside out. That foundation is unforgettable because it empowered her to rise. Inspiration also requires authenticity. A man cannot inspire growth if he does not lead by growth himself. A woman never forgets the man who not only encourages her to reach for more, but also demonstrates it through his own life. His discipline, his pursuit of knowledge, his resilience in the face of struggle. These qualities do not just speak to her, they inspire her. She watches the way he carries himself, and it pushes her to believe she can do the same in her own way. His example becomes a silent teacher that continues to influence her long after he is gone. And what makes this unforgettable is not just the fact that she grew, it is the fact that he believed in her before she fully believed in herself. That belief is powerful because most people only support success after it's visible. Very few encourage it when it is still hidden, fragile, and uncertain. A man who does so carves his name into her memory because he stood by her when the future was still unclear. He saw her light when it was only a spark, and he nurtured it until it became a flame. That act of faith cannot be erased from the heart. When a man inspires growth, he gives a gift that extends beyond the relationship itself. He equips her with confidence, resilience, and vision that she will carry into every area of her life. That kind of influence is permanent. She may forget faces, she may forget names, but she will never forget the man who helped her step into her power, the one who expanded her vision of herself, the one who inspired her to higher than she thought possible. That memory becomes part of her identity because her growth is tied to his encouragement and growth. One spark can never be forgotten. Loyalty is the anchor of love, and when a man demonstrates unwavering loyalty, he secures a place in a woman's memory that no one else can replace. Loyalty is not simply about being present during easy times. It is about remaining steady when life becomes challenging, when temptations arise, and when circumstances test the foundation of commitment. A woman never forgets the man who stood by her side when storms raged, who did not run when difficulties appeared, who did not let outside distractions shake the bond they shared. Loyalty is rare, and because it is rare, it is unforgettable. A man who is loyal shows through his actions that she can depend on him. His words are not empty promises. They are backed by consistency. She knows that if he says he will be there, he will be. She knows that when he faces choices, he chooses respect for her, even when no one is watching. This creates a sense of stability that most relationships lack. Many people can express love in moments of joy, but it is loyalty during trials that reveals the depth of someone's character. A woman who experiences this kind of loyalty holds it in her heart because it gave her certainty in a world full of uncertainty. Loyalty also creates trust, and trust is the foundation of connection. Without loyalty, love feels fragile, always at risk of breaking. With loyalty, love feels protected, unshaken, and secure. When a man proves his loyalty, she feels safe to open up, to share more of herself, to invest more deeply in the bond. That freedom to be fully vulnerable comes only when loyalty is present. And once she has felt that freedom, she cannot forget that the man who gave it to her. It is not something that can be easily replaced because loyalty is not common. What makes loyalty powerful is not just dramatic gestures, but everyday choices. It is in the way he refuses to entertain situations that could harm the relationship, the way he defends her when others speak against her, the way he keeps her trust by guarding her secrets and respecting her boundaries. It is the small decisions repeated over time that demonstrate where his heart truly lies. These daily acts of loyalty may seem ordinary in the moment, but they become extraordinary in memory because they reveal commitment without words. A woman never forgets the man who was loyal when it would have been easier to walk away. Perhaps it was during a period of struggle when she felt uncertain, yet he stood firm. Perhaps it was during moments of doubt when others questioned her, yet he believed in her. Perhaps it was when life presented him with temptations, yet he chose to honor her instead of betraying her. These are the moments that separate a loyal man from the rest. They are the moments that stay engraved in her memory because they showed his character when it mattered most. Loyalty is also about presence. A man who remains emotionally and mentally present, not just physically there, communicates a depth of devotion that she cannot forget. He does not drift away when things get tough. He does not withdraw when she needs him most. He does not choose silence when words are required. His presence is a reminder that loyalty is not passive. It is active, it is engaged, it is intentional. This kind of loyalty makes her feel that she is not alone in life's journey, and that feeling of togetherness is unforgettable. In a world where loyalty is often replaced with convenience, where many give up when things stop being easy, the man who holds steady becomes a rare treasure. She remembers him because he represents something she wishes more people embodied: strength of commitment. Even if time passes, even if paths separate, the memory of his loyalty remains. It is a standard she will compare others to, because once someone has proven loyalty, anything less feels empty and unstable. There is also a quiet power in loyalty that does not need to be announced. That does not need to constantly declare his loyalty if his actions already demonstrate it. A woman remembers not the speeches, but the proof. She remembers the way he kept his promises, the way he protected her trust, the way he stayed consistent when others would have wavered. These experiences become stories she tells herself again and again because they remind her of the rare gift she once had. Loyalty is not perfection. It is devotion. It is choosing her even when disagreements arise. It is standing by her even when life tests patience. It is loving her even when things are not glamorous. That kind of devotion lasts longer than attraction, longer than excitement, longer than passion. It creates a bond that time cannot erase. A woman never forgets the man who gave her that kind of loyalty. Because loyalty is the language of love that does not fade with circumstances. It is the steady rhythm that carries through all seasons. And once a woman has felt it, she carries the memory with her forever. When a man leaves an emotional imprint on a woman, he becomes a part of her story in a way that time cannot erase. More than gifts, more than appearances, more than the surface gestures that so many rely on, it is the emotional experiences he creates that stay alive in her memory. Human beings are wired to remember how someone made them feel. And when a man stirs feelings that reach into the deepest layers of her heart, he etches himself into her life in a permanent way. She may forget the details of conversations, the clothes he wore, or the exact days they shared, but she will not forget the emotions he awakened in her, because emotions live longer than moments. An emotional imprint is created when he connects with her beyond logic. It is in the way he makes her laugh when she least expects it, the way he comforts her when she feels fragile, the way he shares moments of honesty that bring her closer instead of pushing her away. These moments gather together and form something greater than the individual experiences. They create a memory of depth, of connection, of meaning. That is why she will never forget the man who left this kind of mark on her. He became a source of feeling, not just a presence. It happens when he is fully present in the moment, when he gives her his undivided attention, when he listens with his heart, when he speaks with sincerity. She feels an energy that is rare in today's distracted world. That energy becomes a memory. She remembers how it felt to be seen, not half-heartedly, not with divided focus, but with intention. Presence is powerful because it transforms ordinary situations into unforgettable experiences. A simple walk, a quiet conversation, or even a shared silence can become something she never forgets when it is filled with genuine emotional connection. An emotional imprint is also built in times of vulnerability. When she feels weak, when she feels uncertain, when she feels afraid, the man who shows compassion instead of judgment touches her heart in a way that lasts forever. She may not always remember the exact words he said, but she will remember the comfort in his tone, the reassurance in his actions, and the stability he provided in a moment of chaos. These moments carry more weight than anything else because they speak directly to her soul. Joy is another way this imprint is created. When he is able to bring lightness to her spirit, when he creates moments of laughter that echo in her memory, he builds a bond that is not easily broken. Laughter and joy tie emotions to experiences and experiences to memory. Years later, she may not recall what sparked the laughter, but she will remember the feeling of joy he brought into her life. That joy becomes a part of how she remembers him, and it is something that cannot be taken away. Authenticity plays a crucial role in leaving this kind of mark. When a man is genuine, when he does not hide behind masks or play roles, he gives us something real to hold on to. Authentic emotions have a way of carving themselves into memory because they are not common. A man who speaks truthfully, who shares his own feelings openly, who shows vulnerability instead of pretending to be invincible, makes her feel closer to him. That closeness is not forgotten because it was built on truth. An emotional imprint is also tied to inspiration. When he inspires her to dream bigger, to believe more, to trust in herself, the emotions of hope and excitement are connected to him. Every time she reaches for more in her life, A part of her remembers the man who first made her believe she could. Inspiration is emotional at its core. It awakens belief. It awakens passion. It awakens courage. That awakening becomes a permanent link between his presence and her growth. Conflict, too, can shape an emotional imprint, not because of the disagreement itself, but because of how he handled it. If he approached it with respect, patience, and care, she remembers that he did not make her feel small, unheard, or unloved, even in the heat of the moment. This builds a sense of security in her emotions. A memory that even in struggle, she was valued. That memory of being respected in hard times is often stronger than the memory of easy times because it showed his true character when it mattered most. Over time, all of these moments, joy, comfort, vulnerability, inspiration, authenticity, blend into something she carries with her. She may move forward in life, meet new people, face new challenges, but the emotional imprint remains. It lingers in the way she recalls how he made her feel understood when no one else did, how he made her feel cherished when she doubted her worth, how he made her feel hopeful when she was surrounded by fear. These feelings live in her long after the man is gone from her daily life. A woman never forgets the man who left this kind of emotional mark because emotions are the language of memory. They bypass logic, they outlast time, they resurface in quiet moments of reflection. When a man touches her on this level, he becomes a part of her forever. Not because she chooses to hold on, but because the heart cannot forget what deeply moved it.